Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Talkin Kop. I'm Gav Kev's with me, and this is a preview to Liverpool against Sunderland at Anfield in the Premier League tomorrow night. Kev, first things first. The one thing about this game that I'm looking for is that Sunday wasn't a one-off. It wasn't an outlier. It was a stepping stone to something better, and Liverpool have to show up tomorrow night. Liverpool have to put in a performance similar to Sunday, probably better, probably need better again against the Sunderland side that have impressed this season. But you want Sunday to be a stepping stone, don't you? You want it to be the start of something where Liverpool go on a run and start to look like themselves a little bit.
That's the hope, isn't it? I mean, the thing is, I always find this midweek block of fixtures, you get some crazy games.
Yeah,
And
we've had one tonight.
we've had a belter tonight.
Yeah,
I watched the last half hour of it, and I was like, "Go on, go on, go on! You'll do it, you'll do it, you'll do it." And it got close, but you tend to get these games now in the midweek fixtures, especially when you're playing sides who aren't used to playing like Sunderland, playing Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday in this block of three.
yeah,
I mean, they'll play the League Cup fixtures, what have you, but it's usually a massively changed side. We're kind of used to this, where we'll make two or three changes and we'll keep going. And look, Sunday was good. We call it for what it was. West Ham, we said were poor, but we didn't let them play either. But there were parts of that game we were really good. So we have to see an improvement on it. I think we'll need to be better. Obviously, there's the pressure now of playing at Anfield, where we haven't been on it as of late. So we need to turn up, and they said back up the performance from Sunday and try our level best to put 9 points on the board from this week.
mm,
And then get to hopefully you get to the weekend full time after putting 9 points on the board. Look at the table and see where you are,
mm,
and that's the hope. I mean, it won't be easy. Sunderland have been impressive.
yeah,
They've bought well, and the players that they've bought have hit the ground running. They've been a bit indifferent of late. Some of the performances they've started to slip a little bit, but what I found when watching the highlights of them, they keep going. They
yeah,
don't. They don't stop, and they'll have a right go.
yeah,
And they bought into what the manager's trying to do. And for a lot of these players, they know it's second chance, last chance to live.
mm,
They were. So look, we'll get into when we talk about some of Sunderland's players, but yeah, this is going to be a different test, a bigger test than.
yeah,
I think this is going to be a similar test to what PSV brought in
mm,
some ways, in the
yeah,
way they attack, not so much in the way they press, but in the way they attack.
yeah. It's interesting there you said like being back at Anfield where we haven't been quite on it. Particularly Forest and PSV, our last two home games. And I'm reading some quotes from Allison following the game on Sunday, where he's saying, "Look, we knew we weren't doing things right. We're trying to put these things right, and that starts with defensively and being more solid and stuff like that." But he goes on then to talk about you know the fans, the Liverpool Anfield, wanting to get that feeling back at Anfield, like everyone's pulling in the one direction. And I don't think he was having a go at Liverpool saying the fans are against us, but I'd say a lot of players noticed how kind of flat PSV was, and a bit of a disbelief and a bit of what the fuck is going on here after
Yeah,
the game, And look, there's no getting away from it. There was a couple of bills at Anfield last Wednesday night, when Liverpool were beaten by PSV. There wasn't many, but there was a few, and that usually doesn't happen at Anfield. So I think Alisson touching on that is a case of we've won an away game. Let's go to our home game now, and let's get back to what we do at Anfield, and we can build off the confidence there. Irish Johnny B said it's 2-1 to Newcastle against Spurs. That's an update for you there.
yeah.
Neo Geo says Patreon show last night was great fun. Yeah, I think that might have been your first Patreon show watching. Yeah, it was good, and we've loads more of them to come as well. We'll talk to you a little bit about Patreon later on. Emmett says Sunderland would want to get as many points as possible before the AFCON. They lose 7 or 8 players going to that from the 15th of December, I think is the cut off,
Yeah,
isn't it now?
yeah.
It's and Yus says I'd love another clean sheet tomorrow. Let's keep it solid. But before I'll stay on Sunderland because a 2-2 update there from Newcastle Spurs. It's 2-2. No one's telling us who's scoring, just scores. So there you go. So
Well,
there's your
the
update.
last one was penalty, and it'll be one that will come up on your show with Ashley in the week.
Okay.
All right, let's just leave. I'll
Just leave it at that.
leave it at that. It will
Romero scored
definitely.
twice for Spurs, the centre back.
Wow, it will definitely come up with Ashley in the week on Patreon. 100%.
What was I going to say to you? Yeah,
Sunderland.
Sunderland. Yeah. So we've seen teams come up and they go two ways for me. They either do very little in the market and they just accept that we're probably going to go back down, and they usually do. And then you get teams that come up and they spend a few quid and they bring in 8 or 9 players, and you're like, they've brought in too many. It's and they invariably go down because there's an awful lot of teams that in the last couple of years. I think the last 2 seasons that everyone that's gone up has gone back down.
Yeah.
Something along them lines. But with Sunderland, in fairness, when we done our pre-season stuff, we were talking about how many players they've signed. Jesus, it's a huge overhaul. It's a big risk from them, because if you're Sunderland and you come up and you go straight back down after outlaying a fair bit of money and a fair few players, you'd be saying to yourself, could that squad break up? They could be left fucking financially in bits if those players have to leave at cut price deals, etc., etc. But the one thing I would say is, and you've said it already, that they have a way of playing and everyone's bought into it and they work fucking hard and they have a threat. Do you know what I mean? I just looked up a couple of things on them earlier. Like at home, they've played 7-1-4, drew 3, and lost none in their first 7 home games, which is great for a promoted side. Scored 14, conceded 7. But more interestingly, away from home, played 6, won 2, drew 1, lost 3. They've only scored 3 goals away from home. They've only conceded 6.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Granit Xhaka has 4 assists already this season from central midfield. And if you look at the away games, they lose to Burnley early on. I watched that actually for one of our Patreon shows.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
They got a 0-0 draw away at Palace. They won away at Forest. Now, obviously, Forest at the time were in the whole fucking madness period. They get beaten away at United 2-0, and I think that's one of the only really poor performances of the season. When they get beaten, they go and win at Chelsea when they win late. They lose away to Fulham. But they've had draws with Arsenal and they've at home and they've had a comeback win against Bournemouth, which is no mean feat. But Bournemouth were beaten again actually tonight by Everton. But when you look through those results, they don't seem afraid of anybody. They haven't come up to just sit there and go, play dead and hope that, we might nick something. Or I always say you're either really good defensively when you come up or you're a threat. And they seem to be decent. Like they're conceding a goal a game, which is not bad.
Not bad.
If they go across the season and concede 40 to 45 goals in a Premier League season, or 50 goals, they'll stay up easy. Do you know what I mean? It's actually refreshing to see. Isidore has 4 goals. Brobby has 2. Ballard, the centre back, has 2. So the goals, they're getting goals from different areas other than just one main man, and he's getting a few goals. So it is refreshing to see a team like this. I know we're playing them and we want to beat them, but it's nice to see someone come up and have a go.
Good. It is good, and the league needs it, and I think more importantly, the championship needs it. The championship needs clubs to come up and stay up and give the other sides that are coming up almost like a roadmap. It's not like the old days where, you could grind out draws and nick 1-0s and try to make yourself tough to beat and hit sides in the counter and get to maybe 25 points, 28 points, and that might be enough to scrape you in. It seems now that sides who get promoted, they get promoted playing a certain way. Most of the sides that are coming up now are playing really good football. They can't go away from that as soon as they come up. They can't do what Luton did and some of the other clubs that came up and be as expansive as what they are in the championship. But you can't come away totally from what got you there in the first place. And I always say that if you carry a goal threat that will get you most of the way. If you can score at maybe a goal to a goal, 1.5 goals a game, that will give you chances in almost every game. You will keep some clean sheets. And the way they're set up, they'd usually set up in a back four or a back five, predominantly a back five, but they have flexibility within it to be a four without having to make changes from the bench. So they haven't steered away from everything that got them promoted. And the thing is, they've come up the hard way as well. They've come up the league. We've all seen the series. We've all seen the Netflix stuff. Or the Amazon, I don't know what streaming services. So
Sunderland was the original Netflix.
The original one, yeah, it was Netflix.
Yeah. No, was it Netflix or was it? It was one of them. Amazon.
It was one of them.
I think it was Netflix.
But we saw the grind that they got that got them to where they are, and you got to see the insight from the fans and it must have been so hard for them. You got the Peter Reid, the new stadium of light. And when they built that ground away from Roker Park and they go into this brand new state-of-the-art stadium and Niall Quinn and Kevin Phillips, and they're really doing well in the Premier League, to see it all fall away. But not just fall away. They did tumble down into League One and they couldn't get up and they couldn't get back out. And the way they look like they're having a go this season is like, look, they might go down. They still might go down.
They won't.
But they might not.
10 more points and they stay up.
But I think that was their attitude coming up. It's like, we might go down, but if we do what we do, we might not. And it looks like they probably won't. And you got to give them massive credit. And I think Arne Slot did in his press conference today with the signings that they've made. The beauty, I think, for sides that are not in Europe, and you do go big in the transfer window and you bring in lots of players, you do have time to work with them. You have time to bed stuff in and to really set up for opponents. And they have taken full advantage of it. I think Granit Xhaka's signing was a masterstroke, because he'd won the league with Leverkusen, done really well in Germany, left Arsenal under a cloud, almost like a point to prove when he left Arsenal. He didn't want to go. He always felt that he could still do it in the Premier League. Went to the Bundesliga and was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant for that midfield, allowing others to play. But he come back into the Premier League with a point to prove, and a chip equally on both shoulders. That's just the way he's always been. And he's like, you come and see now what I can do. And he is the fulcrum of everything that's positive about this side. He's key to them. He's so important on the ball. His passing range is still brilliant. He's always had that ability to pick passes and dictate play. His problem always was temperament. If you can get around him, you can rattle him, you can get in his head, and he's a walking red card if you get him into that level of space. But some of the other signings that they've signed, Nordi Mukiele was touted, he was a PSG, and then he went to the Bundesliga, and he was touted as being the next one on the rank for a big Premier League move like Canate and some of the others. But it never quite happened for them. He took the punt and took the chance to come into the Premier League with the Sunderland, probably using Sunderland as a stepping stone. Sunderland is saying, thank you very much. That's great. If we're a stepping stone club for players like that come into Sunderland, maybe get a year, 2 years, they flip them for big money. They reinvest. It's kind of like what Bournemouth done. Bournemouth, when they come up, that ground is tiny. They can't depend on crowd attendance to get revenue. They have to do it by flipping players. Sunderland are probably looking at this in exactly the same mold.
A lot of teams are.
Yeah.
If you go back to, the best ones are probably Brighton. Because Brighton signed players for between 5 and 10 million quid, and you look at Belaba, who's going to go for big money. Basuma went for big money. You have McAllister didn't because Liverpool had an eye in on that deal, but then you have Saicedo went for big money. Joe Pedro went for big money. So they're probably the best. And it is the way to go, because I'd be fuming when I see the likes of the worst one ever, I think, was Sheffield United. They come up and didn't sign a fucking player and just said, we're going back down, we're taking our 60 million with us, and we'll try to come straight back up. And when we come back up, then we'll have 60 million in the pocket to go with the 100 million we're going to get for coming into the league. But it didn't work for them. You know what I mean? They're struggling now. Well, they're finding their feet a little bit more in the Championship, but it hasn't worked for them. But some clubs were going that way. You know, Sean Dyche had made a big thing about it at the time when Burnley wouldn't spend money, and I think they go down and come back up, don't they? But it's like, clubs were nearly coming up and going, we've got 100 million for going up. We'll stay where we're at. We'll get big money. More people in the ground. We'll take 60 million going back down, and we put that in the coffers to get ourselves back up, and we'll be on a much better financial footing. But it's a big risk because that Championship is just be killed.
It's a minefield.
Yeah,
it's a minefield in the Championship.
Ashley says Bournemouth are in big trouble with the new financial rules, and that's probably because of your income and etc. But when we look at these, I think you were saying about the way PSV played at Anfield last Wednesday, and PSV, in fairness to them, passed the ball, and then when they seen a chance to go direct against us, they did, because we were leaving spaces so they could go direct. When it comes to Sunderland, we know they're going to work hard. We know they look wide. They want pace out wide, and they want to be solid in midfield, and they want their big target man to be a nuisance. And that's exactly what we're going to get tomorrow night. Sunderland, just staying on them because we'll switch to Liverpool then. But Sunderland, looking at this, they'll see Liverpool won. But at the same time, they'll be saying to themselves, if we can frustrate these at Anfield, things could get a bit fucking edgy here and we have a chance. But Sunderland will be looking, won't they? They'll be looking to go direct. They'll be looking to get into channels behind Liverpool's fullbacks, and that's where they look to expose. I don't think they want to get into a game. I don't think Sunderland want to get into a really technical game where it's who can pass the ball better. I think Sunderland want to be solid, walk off the front man, really basic but effective. Solid, walk off the front man, get yourselves up the pitch and use your pace to create chances. That's what Sunderland are going to go in for, and you don't blame them because it has worked against Liverpool this season.
But it's not just Liverpool. It works against an awful lot of established Premier League sides who aren't used to that level of physicality that the league is developing into. They'd have used this tactic in the Championship quite a bit, or they would have had it done to them as well quite a bit. And I mean, I'm looking at FootMob there. They've got them lined up as a 5-4-1. I don't think it's going to be much different from that. But that's on paper. In reality, the wing backs will both go. The wingers will look to support be supported by the wing backs, and Granit Xhaka in the middle, looking to be the link man for everything, switching play through him, and if he can go and knock one in and get someone to get it off the striker on a 1-2 or something like that, that's what they'll do, and they're good at it. Brian Brobby, if he starts, a lot of clubs were looking at him when he was at Ajax for a good few years. And again, he's another one. It never quite happened. And Sunderland took a punt. He's been in and around the Dutch squad as well. So he's experienced enough. He's talented. And Lefay is probably the one, I suppose, with Ronaldo. Ronaldo, their left wing back, played something like 30 games for Atletico Madrid last year. So not a small amount of games in a top quality league, in a side that were challenging to be in the Champions League. And he'd got Champions League games as well. So pretty good experience to be able to bring him in as well. And they've got good combinations. They blend well for the system that they want to play. They blend really well. The balance in the side is really good. Again, I watched the highlights of the Bournemouth game back. Yeah, they won it 3-2. It was another late goal. But Bournemouth really were kicking themselves because they had more than enough chances. So the one thing about Sunderland, they will give you chances because when they go on the counter, they go in numbers. They won't press us high up. I can't see a world where they'll press the keeper.
No, I think them stats tell you themselves. They've scored, like I said, they've scored 3 goals away from home in 6 games. They've only conceded 6 goals in those things. So I think what Sunderland want to do here is, and it's their way, they feel like it's their way home in away games is to go out there. Now they've scored 6, 2 of those, or they've scored 3, 2 of those was at Chelsea. You know, the sort of way. So I think what Sunderland look to do is let's start at 0-0, and if 0-0 comes out, great. And if we can nick one, great. And do you know what? It's not a bad system to have if you're going to have a go at home. You know, because too many teams come up and they'll do that away and they'll do it at home, and you can't do it all season because you get caught, and then you try to get away from that, and then you look even worse. You know, the sort of way. But I was looking at the formations as well in the last couple of games, and they had them lined out like a 4-2-3-1. Yeah. So there must be some flexibility there. If at times you've gone 3 at the back, or they go wing backs, and then
flexibility. The flexibility is in Mukiele. Mukiele is a right back who can play centre back. You know, he can play right sided centre back in a 3, and he can be the guy. Do you remember what Sheffield United used to do with one of the centre backs? It was usually Enda Stevens, wasn't it? He would join the attack, leaving 2 centre backs. He'd be the extra person. Northern Mukiele will do that from centre back. He'll allow his right wing back to bomb on. The right winger will become a second striker. Mukiele will then fill in the slot behind the right wing back to be like a right-sided centre mid. And they'll play with like a 2 centre backs holding as a 2. But when they defend in a 5-4-1. You know, that's where they get the extra numbers, and they get the extra overloads in and around, usually the right side of midfield. And when you think about how we would line up against that, you'd have the right back and Szoboszlai as your right centre mid. And depending on who's playing in front of us, in front of those two as a right winger, they'll have overloads for days down that side. And the same on the other side, if the winger doesn't track back and be effective in supporting the defenders, because they can create overloads from wide, and they've got the players and the ability to do it. But again, it's like you said, away from home is the bravery side of it. And I think they'll look at it, and if I'm Sunderland, I say, look, these are the games why you got promoted. These are the nights why you wanted to come back, get back into the Premier League. This is what we're here for. You're not expected to go to Anfield and win, but you might if you're brave enough, and that they may as well have a go. They may as well have a go, because if they lose, so what? You're expected to lose. They're the champions. But if you win, that's 3 more points closer to safety, and what a feather in your cap. You know? Yeah,
because I think they've they've enough points. I think another 10 points and they stay up. There's no doubt Sunderland stay up, and I get the AFCON stuff and everything, but you know, if everyone's bought into this as much as we think at Sunderland during that AFCON, you know, it's they probably look at that and say, let's pick up as many points as we can during the AFCON. It's a free hit for us. We've done so well at the start of the season. Let's get through this month, which will be probably 4 or 5 games. A lot of them will miss, and then you know, straight back into it, and away we go again. They'll have more than enough. On to Liverpool. You know, we've spoken there about you know, what Sunderland offer. You know, and it's actually funny because when we looked at West Ham on Sunday, Callum Wilson wasn't a starter front, and it was just nothing happening for Callum Wilson. You know, and look, part of that was I thought our centre backs were good, but I thought Callum Wilson was terrible, and he wasn't mobile enough. He wasn't a physical enough threat. He wasn't intelligent enough in his movement. It was very stand still and hope the fucking ball hits off him. And the wide men for West Ham didn't get going at all, really. I don't think Bowen either got going at all. But for Liverpool, they'd be looking at Sunderland and they'd be saying to themselves, right, we have to focus. A lot of people in the chat are saying, just do the basics, do what we're meant to do. And this is where your centre-halves have to tune in massively for me. I think your centre-halves, your full-backs and your two possibly deep-line midfielders have to be tuned in here massively. Because I don't see Sunderland coming forward and full-backs racing beyond wingers. And, you know, I see it as they're going to look to be lively off the front man. And that'll be your two. If they play a 4-2-3-1, you're looking at the guy off the front man, 2 wide men, and that'll be it. And you have to make sure that you're on it. You do the basics. And in midfield, Liverpool, you know, Xhaka does want to pull the strings for Sunderland. I don't know if he pulls the strings for Sunderland. I just think he's brilliant at having them organised on the pitch.
Yeah.
I think when I look at him playing for Sunderland, he's telling everybody where to be. He gets
I think he's good at finding space.
Yeah, he gets himself in good positions on, particularly for me on the left side of Sunderland's attack, where he just drifts over there, backs up the play, and then goes, "Give it back to me, and I'll get it in the box." So in midfield, I think we need to be, again, I want us to be quick on it in midfield, the sort of way, and then we're gonna have to work out Sorry, me fucking mouth went completely wrong there. We're gonna have to work out how to deal with a low block, because it's going to be a low block.
Yeah,
It's going to be Sunderland sitting in and going, we have a back four, we've Granite Xhaka, we've two lads either side of them, and they're going to fucking help their full backs. And so Liverpool have to move this quick. And I'm going to say it again, they have to put the ball in the fucking box, because we can. I don't want to see us get into this thing where Sunderland go, it's fine, just let their fucking wide men drift inside right into traffic and we'll hit them, and then we look to break, because that's killing Liverpool at the minute. And it sounds very basic, Kev, but it really is. Do your job defensively, move the ball a bit quicker, and get the ball in the box, because Isak wants the ball in the box.
That's the thing. How do we line up?
Oh, he 100%. He has to play.
Can he go again?
He has to. Like, how long are we going here now? Like, we're fucking in the 2nd of December, Kev.
I know, but he's had one start since he's come back, and he was cramping up when he came off.
And that's okay.
According to Slot. Yeah. He had warmed that day. This is the thing. They travelled back Sunday night, warmed down Monday, trained today, playing tomorrow.
Yeah, no problem.
This is the thing. And it's going to be the same for Florian Wirtz, and it's the same for Joe Gomez. Can Joe Gomez do back-to-back games? I really hope he fucking can.
Well, the thing is, right, so just on the Gomez thing, right?
Yeah.
If you think Joe Gomez cannot play 2 games or in 3 or 4 days, right? Yeah. Why in the name of fuck are you leaving him on that pitch for 95 minutes the other day?
This is it.
Because
this is where
they could have easily brought Curtis Jones on and stuck him at right back for Joe Gomez today, instead of taking off Wirtz. Now, you could have taken off Wirtz as well, but you could have said to yourself, I'm taking Joe Gomez off, I'm taking Alexander Isak off, and I'm taking Florian Wirtz off, which, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But Joe Gomez plays all of that game.
Yeah. And it's unusual for Arne Slot not to change his fullbacks. He did it. He even brought Robertson on at the death at the end of it and left Gomez on. I hope he can play, because on the strength of his performance against West Ham, he deserves to have a run out, especially at home. And I think his size will help, because physically Sunderland do have some aerial threats from set pieces. So having him there for that would be good. Plus, defensively, he is pretty solid. And I thought in an offensive sense, he was decent. I'm more worried about what happens in front of him. In front of Joe Gomez if he starts. Dominic Szoboszlai gave him a lot of support defensively, and I don't think that defensive support will be there if Salah plays. Yeah. And if Sunderland decide to play an overload on that side, knowing that Salah isn't going to track back, and if he does, he's just throwing out lazy legs. He's there in mind, but in body, but not in spirit.
Yeah. And Arj says there, Gav, it was 1-0 until the end, so he probably didn't want to concede. Yeah, but we always go on about, games and they whip, like, it was only 1-0, but they took off the striker. Do you know what I mean? Because he has a certain amount of minutes in his legs, and they're protecting him. And Wirtz comes back from injury, and they get whatever amount of minutes out of him. My argument here is that, do you just play Joe Gomez till he breaks? Because Joe Gomez isn't. For me, when Joe Gomez issues comes along, I don't think it's a case of he can't play 2 games in a week. I think he just ends up picking up injuries, right? Yeah. Niggly injuries. And it's probably just a case of we're going to play him. Invariably, somewhere he's picking up an injury, and we'll just have to fucking.
You just accept it. No,
Yeah,
it's just,
yeah. So why don't we
it's
just
almost
keep
part
playing
of
him?
his contract, man.
Because it's funny because Joe Gomez just be out injured, and then when you think he's back, they go, "Oh no, he actually just picked up something else in training." So I don't know if the games are fucking taken are any different. You know the sort of way. Yeah. Andy says Slot was shitting himself as well. Don't forget, no chances to be took in that instance. Yeah, but you're taking. But if you don't take him out, you're taking a chance for this Wednesday, this game. Yeah. So you'll be shitting yourself again, and you'll have to take a chance for a longer period of a game. If you get me, you're going to have to start with somebody that's is a fucking centre midfielder, unless you're going to go the Calvin Ramsey route, which he's definitely not going to do.
He's definitely not,
because he's had opportunity to do it and he hasn't.
I think the other thing with Florian Wirtz, he was at pains today in his press conference to highlight that Florian Wirtz came off. That's all he could give. That the amount of time he gave on the day, that's what he could do. But he made the point that he'd had one training session in 2.5 weeks, and the quick turnaround. It wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't start, because I think he is one that they will want to be mindful of, depending on what kind of injury it was, because we don't know what the actual injury was that he picked up while away with Germany. So he come back, had one training session, played, was really good. The system suited him to the ground. It's just a case of, do you gamble and can he go again? And the same has to be said for Isak, because at least with Isak, you have Ekatike there. And Ekatike is absolutely fine. He's firing fit and raring to go. So it could be a case that between the two strikers, you get the 60-30 split between the two of them. You know, you'll both play in the 90 minutes. One of you will do 60, one of you will do 30. And the next game, vice versa. And you just keep doing that. But it's going to be, what do you do with Salah, and two, what do you do with Wirtz?
Yeah. There's an argument that you do start Wirtz and Salah comes on from.
Yes.
Put it that way.
Yes.
There's an argument that you start Isak and Ekatike comes on from, and then that leaves Gakpo, and then you could do something along. I don't know what you could do along them lines, but you know, Davey T says there, Sunderland well organised, strong, good on the break, but I think you'll overwhelm them tomorrow. If Liverpool are to overwhelm them tomorrow, Kev, you know, we have to, like I said, break down a low block, a strong, well organised team that are decent on the break. So it really is. It's nearly like, it's probably a game you don't want, because the way these are set and the way these will approach it. But at the same time, it's a game you absolutely want, because if we're going to iron out problems and we're going to show that we're doing things a little bit different here, and Sunday is a good start to it.
Yeah,
this is the exact game where your fullbacks and your wingers have to work together, right? You have to move the ball quick. You have to get the ball in the box to make chances. And when someone goes like if a Kirkes or a Robertson goes beyond Gakpo, or if Joe Gomez starts and goes beyond the Szoboszlai, that if they happen to win the ball or get out, that we have cover there. We need to see what we see in a bit of on Sunday, where when one goes, someone just slots in there and says, look, I'm not part of the attack. He's gone, so McAllister or Gravenberch or Szoboszlai, whoever it is, just slides into a position. I'm not saying go and stand at right back, but I'm saying cover that right side. But, you know,
and be aggressive when you lose it.
Yeah, because I think Sunderland will actually
break down.
Yeah, Sunderland will actually want us to go a bit gung-ho at them. They'll want that. I think they'll prefer that. I think Sunderland, if I'm looking at Sunderland, I'm thinking to myself, they won't want us, you know, snuffing out any hope for them. And what I mean by that is that Liverpool go up and attack with 5 players, move it quickly, good ball in the box, a defender gets a fucking foot on it. But when it comes back out, Liverpool immediately have it. Because Sunderland went to break and Liverpool got hold of them and went, no, and we take the ball off you, and off we go again. And I think that's where I'd like to see Liverpool. I'd love to see Liverpool measured in what they're doing, but not measured to the point where it's fucking pedestrian. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? I don't want to see the two fullbacks up massively high, and you know, Gravenberch breaking beyond the ball, and McAllister there, and Szoboszlai, and next of all, you're looking, there's 2 centre backs standing the halfway line, and there's no one in 30 yards of them in any direction. And then you
Yeah.
go, that's not going to work, lads. So Liverpool need to find a way where they make this a quick game, but they need to be able to say when a ball comes out of Sunderland's box or Sunderland look to go, we're all over them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then we'll have to
Yeah.
back our two centre halves. If those percentage balls go forward, we have to back our centre halves to sweep up and get us going again. But it has to be covered all the time. You know, there's too much of a tendency for Liverpool to all rush forward, trying to get beyond the ball, and then there's no structure behind it. And that's what Sunderland will want. They'll want
I think
Liverpool to
that's
look
key.
for a madness.
That's the key point, getting beyond the ball. I want to see, like, we didn't see McAllister or Gravenberch get beyond the ball almost at any stage in that game the other night. And by doing that, you keep your two centre mids. They were still aggressive. They were still aggressive in the counter press. And there was one clip that was in the we didn't see it the other night when we did our show, but it was Joe Gomez pressing after Szoboszlai lost the ball in their left backs
Yeah,
area.
he blocks it, goes out for a throw at the corner flag.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the kind of controlled, aggressive counter pressing that you want to see, especially against the side who are pinned in. Make the out ball as hard as possible. And if they do get through you with that kind of pressured out ball, odds are it's not going where they want it to go. It's going to an area. And you back Virgil and Konate to be able to deal with those kind of balls. So you don't want your Granit Xhakas or anyone else to be able to turn on the edge of their box, pick a pass with a couple of seconds to be able to pick their head up and pick a pass. You want them to be suffocated when on the counter press, but at the same time, you're not leaving everything completely open at the back. You know, that's the kind of control that having your 2-6s, being in an aggressive position, but you're still having 2-6s close enough to each other that they can dovetail each other when it's needed. That might not be McAllister tomorrow night. It might be Jones tomorrow night. Whoever it is, they need to be in tune with each other. And Szoboszlai seems to be key to everything because his starting positions against West Ham allowed Joe Gomez to have that width. But if they decide to go with a back five rather than a back four, it's a different thing then because they will push a wing back out onto whoever is playing on the right or the left. So you can then look to try to create spaces in between the centre backs. So it's a different kind of challenge, but it's still what I'm really looking forward to. I'm looking forward to tomorrow night more than I have done for a long time.
Yeah.
Purely on the strength of seeing us trying to back up what we did against West Ham.
Yeah. Let's talk lineups.
Yeah.
And let's talk score predictions, goal scorers, etc. I think we're on the same page when it comes to what Liverpool need to look to do because we do know the dangers coming from Sunderland. We know the threat. You know, as David T said earlier, they're well organised. They're strong sides. They're well organised. But in saying that, if you look at their away record, they don't look to come and score goals away from home. They look to go and hit you on the break. So for me, it has to be a really disciplined display, and then you back them. Like I said on the show we done last night on Patreon, back them 4 or 5 players going forward and leave them to it. And you just back up the play and make sure that, lads, you be confident in what you're doing going forward because we have 5 lads behind the ball at all times that will mop things up and just get it back to use 5 to start doing it. And I think Liverpool have to do that. So taking everything into consideration, Andy wants unchanged side, end of story. What are you going with?
I think Alisson's starting goal, obviously. Konate and Virgil. You've talked me into Joe Gomez starting now. But I think Robertson comes in at left back. I think Curtis Jones comes in next to Gravenberch for McAllister in the 2-6s. Szoboszlai wide on the right. Wirtz on the 10. Gakpo on the left. And Ekitike up front. So it'd be 3 changes for me.
Say that to me again.
Ekitike up front, Gakpo on the left, Wirtz, Szoboszlai as your in a 4-2-3-1. They'd be your 3 attacking midfielders.
Right.
Jones and Gravenberch are your 2 6s. Robertson, Van Dijk, Konate, Gomez, Allison, and goal.
Okay. Arj, I think it was Arj, says, Gav, have you ever got a goal scorer right? Your shouts are normally off since I've been watching you guys. Probably get it all right now. No, I'm probably, to be fair, I always throw a few wild cards in there just to be different. I usually go for like a Kinetic hat-trick or something like that. Because what I say doesn't matter. You know, it's not going to have any issue or effect on the game. Allison in goal.
Yeah.
Kerkez left back.
Mm-hmm.
Not Jones. Joe Gomez right back. The two lads are centre half. Midfield. Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai. Do you know what? I am going unchanged. Now I think of it. I'm going unchanged. Why not? Because I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why not. So, if you're going to play Kerkez, right, and you're going to persist with Kerkez, who I actually felt so sorry for against PSV, and I thought he played well against West Ham, because with us having more structure, I think it suited him, right? I think the gung-ho stuff actually doesn't suit him. So I want to continue with Kerkez. I want to persist with him because he's a long-term left back, right? And if he's fit and he's ready to go and he's a fit young fella, he's only bleeding about 18. Play him, right? Joe Gomez plays 95 minutes in that game the other night, and if you have any concern over Joe Gomez playing too much football, you take him off. And I understand we're 1-0 up, but they go down to 10 men. We could have done something there, and we didn't. He kept them on the pitch. Now, unless he kept them on the pitch to go back to a midfielder right back, but why? Why not just take him off on 70 and give him 20 minutes, 25 minutes rest that's not on his legs, and then put him back in and play him for another 70? So, in my opinion, I think Joe Gomez, when he's fit and ready to play him. Right? So that's where I'm going with that. Midfield was, I don't see the benefit in taking McAllister out because I don't think rest does McAllister any good. I think McAllister has to keep playing his way in. And the fact that if Liverpool are going to be a bit more measured in this, I like that when it comes to McAllister, because I think McAllister is very cute when given a job of dropping into certain areas and looking after things. I think he's fine. I thought he was abysmal against PSV because we were trying to do mad stuff and he was at the centre of it, where he looked like he was nowhere near the play when we had it and way off when we hadn't got it. Where I think when you give him a certain job to do and we become a bit more measured and we move teams around and we move around ourselves at the same time to cover each other, I'm okay with that. Gravenberch is a no-brainer. Szoboszlai is a no-brainer. He's been our best player this season. And the reason I'm going with Wirtz is you get whatever amount of minutes out of Wirtz the other day, right? I think that only benefits him. Mm-hmm. I think when players are coming back from fitness, that 65 or whatever he gets, 70 minutes, it benefits him. And they'll have him in the best recovery on the Sunday night and the Monday, and they'll do him a bit of training. They go, do you know what? Go and do a 60 for me again. Do 60 for me again, and if we can get a couple of goals up here, we have players to come on. Isak needs minutes. There's no point in us sitting him on the fucking bench and going, do you know what? He'll be fit by December. It is fucking December, right? And he needs minutes. And we were all quite happy when he was going away with Sweden, saying he might get 20 here, he might get 30 there, he might get a half an hour, he might get 45, he might get 60. We wanted him to get minutes of Sweden to come back for us. So why would we be, while he's fit, why would we be turning down the chance to put him on the pitch, right? And Gakpo gets a goal and assist. He gives the ball away a serious amount of times, but I think right now, I think you have to put him in. I think he probably has the most goals for Liverpool this season. Funny enough,
I think he's got the second highest amount of chances created in the league this season.
Yeah, and I think with Gakpo, we talk about players playing into confidence and playing. I think Gakpo needs to go back to being Gakpo, right? Where he'd run at a player outside, clip one in, might come inside, have a shot. If you're going to come inside, shoot. Don't run across the box for ages with it. Get a fucking chance and shoot. He's trying to be too precise with things. Use his fullback, but I think a more confidence comes into Gakpo and Kerkez when we know that Gravenberch is backing you up. It's okay. Or McAllister's backing you up. They aren't ahead of the ball with you. So you can have, it's all about confidence and giving these players confidence to try stuff and do stuff knowing the other lads will cover. It's okay. They'll win the ball back and get us going again. So, yeah, I'm going to go unchanged because Ekitike can come on and do 45 if you want. If you only want Isaac to do 45, Ekitike can come on. Ekitike can come on the left. If you wanted to. If you're winning comfortably, you could put on Ekitike on the left and put Chiesa up front, right? Salah is there. Salah wants minutes, right? Salah be chomping at the bit. But I've no problem if you say to me, I'm putting Wirtz on there, and then after now I'm taking Wirtz off. I'm moving Szoboszlai back into a midfield three, and I'm putting Salah over there. But I'm telling Szoboszlai, if he goes high and wide, you have to be over. You have to do that doggy work that you done last season for him. So, yeah, unchanged. Fuck it. They're all fit. They've all played football. You know what I mean? And
yeah, I just think that when it comes to these midweek games, I think that you will expect to see at least 2 or 3 changes per game.
maybe so.
It's just the way he's always been. He's been like this pretty much all season. I can't remember a time when he's gone back to back unchanged this season. It just doesn't feel like he's done it very often. I mean, Ashley gave us a stat earlier on today. I think it was the first time since 2020 that Salah was an unused sub in the Premier League game when he's been fully fit and available.
Mm-hmm.
And don't think it done him any harm, because I don't mind him coming back if he's hungry. But the positions that Szoboszlai was picking up naturally, allowing his fullback to have the space of that right hand side, I think it gave us a lot more. It gave Florian Wirtz a lot more freedom, because if you try to man mark Flo in the 10 role and you've got Szoboszlai right next to him, you can't do both. So one of the two of them will find space. You go to one, the other one is free. But I think Salah, being that right hand side player, he's too far away, and it isolates Florian Wirtz in the 10 role, and it gives him a lot less options. So I kind of like the balance of Szoboszlai and Wirtz being closer together.
He could go down the Real Madrid route, where he played Wirtz off the left and he played Salah off the right, if I remember. And what he done was he basically said, Wirtz starts off the left, but he goes wherever the fuck he likes.
And then defensively, he tucks back in on the left.
Yeah, he could do something like that, but I can't see a reason why he can't go unchanged. And I know what you're saying, the 3 games in the week and stuff like that. But then looking forward to Leeds, right? You play Wednesday night, then you play Saturday evening, right?
Yeah.
I think Leeds play away tomorrow night as well, don't they? So, when you look at going into Leeds, then it could be a case of, listen, Wirtz can't start against Leeds. We're going to play Salah. We're going to play Ekitike instead of Isaac. Do you know what I mean? What I'm saying is you can start this game unchanged. You can bring players in that are going to start then at the weekend, and it keeps them all in a similar flow.
Over, yeah.
The sort of. And remember, it's not like when you don't start them, they can't play. They're all coming on the fucking pitch anyway.
Yeah.
Salah not coming on today was an outlier. But they all get the same sort of rhythm, and they all get the same sort of game time. But listen, it doesn't matter it doesn't matter who we put on this pitch, right? Yeah. If we don't play, have some sort of incisiveness about our play, and we don't back each other up, right, in terms of going forward and going back, it doesn't matter who you play. It just doesn't matter who you play. Do you know what I mean? And I know people are looking at Salah going, oh, well, look, he came in and he was brilliant positions he got, and we looked more solid and stuff like that. We've looked so solid with Salah in teams before, but we went so far away from what we were doing. What we done was we used to leave Salah high, right? And what we do is we'd start our midfielders that little bit deeper, and we'd let them support Salah, and one might go. But genuinely, Salah's out there on the left. Okay, he's not using his fullback enough, and I don't think there's any argument to say any different than that.
Mm-hmm.
But Salah losing a ball, last season was fine, because Szoboszlai would be there, or you'd see Gravenberch, McAllister come into the picture, and it'd be fine. But this season, when Salah loses the ball, players are just running up the pitch because our midfielders are literally probably not even 5 yards deep of Salah, and all standing in a central position going, yeah, we'll all stand in here while you get it. So I understand where people are loving the whole Szoboszlai played and Verts drifted onto that side and we look more structured, but the big thing is that you back each other and you keep moving as a team and shuffling around that pitch as a team without the ball, and that comes down to organisation and effort. And if you can get that, you can play Salah all day, because I think Salah's being written off very fucking quickly here, to be honest.
No, but I wouldn't be opposed to Salah playing more centrally if he was playing in a 10 role as a second striker even. But I think you can't have two passengers from a defensive point of view, and Salah defensively is a passenger, but so is Isak. So is Isak.
Yeah,
Isak is a passenger. You can't have two.
Yeah, but my thing
because
is, if you're well organised, Kev, if you're well organised, you can.
Because last season, when you were talking about that, last season, Jota, Darwin, Diaz would all track back.
Yeah.
Firmino track back.
Yeah,
they would drop into that 10 role and hang around the 6 and make sure that they would stop those passes, those simple passes out as a release.
Yeah,
Isak isn't doing that. Salah definitely won't do it. So that's the problem. The difference between this season and last season. You still got a midfield trying to do what it's used to doing, but when you've got two players who don't track back past the halfway line and be committed in that role, it's a problem. You can get away with one, but when you have two, and sometimes even three, because Gakpo on the other side can be lackluster and lazy at times once he gets back into our own half. So, I just think that's the only way I'm coming at it from Salah's point of view is, if we're going to play him centrally. Play him, not centrally as a 9, but play him in that free role, because he's definitely got a football brain. He can definitely get on the ball and turn and run and commit players. And it would freak defenders out because they wouldn't have a fucking clue how to deal with it, because they haven't had to deal with it in a long time.
Yeah.
I think once you're slowing down, and that's the one thing that's true, Mo Salah is slowing down. His brain won't slow down, but his body is. He can't go past people like he used to. Fullbacks are defending him much easier, and he's not as effective as he was last season, and that's telling in the figures. And it's not so much the goals and the assists, it's the amount of shots he's getting off. He's not getting in positions to get good quality shots off.
Yeah, but you see,
that's terrifying.
I get that, right? But if you, like someone said there a few things ago, a couple of minutes ago, they said they feel Salah will be different when he gets Bradley or Frimpong back, because of their overlap and they give him more space, right? But I hear that, but I genuinely, when I look at Salah and Gakpo on the ball, right, I think they're trying to be too careful because they're fucking terrified when the ball is lost that what's happening behind them is a shambles.
Yeah,
and I genuinely do believe that. So it's more Gakpo nearly, because when Gakpo used to come inside a player, he'd probably come in, take a touch, hit one, right? Yeah. Or he'd turn out and play it back in the midfield and go, right, that's not working, we go again. But watching him recently, he comes in, he takes a touch, and then you're thinking he's going to hit it. Then he tries to take another touch because he's like, I'm not 100% sure of this. Then he tries to take another one, and then he gets caught.
It's gone.
Do you know what I mean? And they're going, fuck, if I lose this. Do you know what I mean? And as I hammered the both of them last week because they were ignoring their fullbacks, right? And Jones done loads of running past Salah, and Kirk has done loads of running past Gakpo, and I was like, give them the fucking ball. But when I look at it as well, I think Salah comes inside off that right wing, right, and say Jones runs by him, or Frimpong or Bradley, they usually run by, and they usually run by it with an intent to drag someone, right? And Salah's like, perfect, I'll pop one inside here to someone and try to look for the return, or I'll get a shot away, or I'll hit a lovely cross in. But at the moment, it's trying to be too precise because, fuck, that fullback's gone beyond me. Now, he's wrong not to be giving it to the fullback sometimes, but I think in their head, what they're thinking is, he's gone beyond me. Now, if I lose this, there's fucking nobody down there right hand side, because I'm definitely not there. And the fella that's meant to be with me is gone beyond me. And the two lads that usually cover me are standing 10 yards inside me, you know, at the same distance from the goal as I am. And I think that there's that bit of worry in them. Whereas I think you get more. I'd love to see. I'd love to see Salah on the pitch on Sunday, because when Gomez goes, right, and Szoboszlai plays him, right, all I was watching for was what's happening behind, and all I could see was Gravenberch shifting and McAllister shifting.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it was like, if it comes out that side, I'm in position. I don't have to win it, but if I can pressure somebody, Joe Gomez can get behind me then, and we can cover. Do you know what I mean? But there's just not enough of that at the minute in the team. And look, I'm not telling you Gakpo and Salah have been excellent and have been let down by the team. I think their decision making has been awful. But part of me is saying to myself, can we make a more of a structure behind them that allows them to express themselves a bit more and take that little bit more of a risk? The risk play has gone out of them. Genuinely, the risk, especially with Salah, the risk play has gone out of him. He's trying to. You're watching him face up defenders, and he usually, you know, dribble or he'd go past, and it's kind of like he's just looking to get it and play a pass, and it's just, he becomes ineffective, because then he's just wall passing the people, and that's not what Salah is. Ashley says, all this chat about Mo will be done in 2 weeks. We will need to shift away from anyways. Well, I'll tell you something. If he goes to the AFCON and Liverpool stop scoring goals, all the chat will be about Mo Salah and how we're missing him, because that's
even though
every time he goes away.
He's not scoring freely at the minute either.
No.
So, in fairness, it goes to show last season how much he really carried this team in the first half of the season. Mm-hmm. He really did. He was an absolute freak of nature last season, the first half of the season. But it's like anyone, you know, they will drift in and out of form. It just so happens that this one season wonder in his 9th season is having a bit of a stutter.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it is. And you know what? Fine. You know, it happens. And yeah, he goes away in a fortnight, and I think we got a glimpse on Sunday as to what it's going to look like. Apparently, Conor Bradley might be available for Leeds, according to Slot at his press conference, and Frimpong a week later.
Okay, which is strange, because Frimpong was reported to be training on grass last Friday.
Yeah,
and no sign of Bradley. So
I think they're just being extra cautious because it was a second hamstring.
Yeah.
You know, and I think they're probably giving him as much time
for Christmas, Kev.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Just hope it's not a cracker and he pulls the fucker.
Daniel says, I'm having visions of Ekitike being the next Thierry Henry drifting in from the left. Well, of course, Thierry Henry, I actually listened to Stick to Football with Ashley Cole today, and I'm not a big fan of that show, but I listened to it because I wanted to hear him talk about his departure from Arsenal, going back 20 odd years ago now, and he spoke so well. He's actually such a nice,
really articulate, isn't he?
Yeah, really good guy to listen to. And he was saying that when Henry arrived at Arsenal, he did kind of start off the left, but then they just stuck him into the middle and it just worked. But he loved drifting off that left hand side, pulling towards that left hand side. And listen, if Hugo Ekitike is half the player Thierry Henry was, you're in for a fucking great time. Because he's probably the one player in all of the Premier League that I've watched that I would have loved to see play for Liverpool. It would have been unbelievable.
Epic.
Yeah. Right, let's go. Predictions, goal scorers. Because Red Steve's going to bed and he wants to know what they are.
He wants to know what they are. All right, Steve, here you are. 3-1 Liverpool.
I was going to go with that. Go on.
Virgil, Florian, and Szoboszlai.
Okay. Sam has 3-0 Liverpool. Salah hat-trick.
Fair enough.
Ashley says, are you basically both predicting a Salah hat-trick tomorrow? Yeah. Look, I'll take it. Not going to lie. No, I was going to go with 3-1, but I won't do the same. I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool. I'll go Wirtz and Isak.
Why not?
Yeah, I'll go Wirtz and Isak. There we go.
Big night tomorrow night in the league.
Yeah, there's loads of good games
Yeah,
on.
big line, especially after Man City win tonight.
Yeah,
They're within 2 points of Arsenal now,
yeah,
and yeah, it's getting interesting. But it just
yeah,
goes to show what putting a run of wins together can look like to the table.
yeah.
Because as it stands at the
Well,
minute,
it's like
we're
someone like listen, Liverpool are still 9 points off Arsenal, but it's
exactly,
somebody.
yeah,
I was walking today, and a lad said to me, "Jeez, do you having a great time?" Um, this fella, I don't even know who this fella supports. He just talks to me about football when I'm in this place walking, and he said to me, "Yeah, they're not in a great shape, you know." And he says, "Yeah, but he says you never know." He said all it takes the top team to have 2 draws, just not even defeats, 2 draws.
yeah,
He said, and before you know it, he said you're within 5 points, 4 points of them. Do you know what I mean? He says,
exactly,
so there you go. It's look, Liverpool have a lot way to go.
yeah,
But this is the sort of game like somebody says there. Who was it? Because I was going to read it out. Don't underestimate. Ado says it. He said, don't underestimate Sunderland. It'll be a very tricky game. Yeah, I fully
all
agree.
right, yeah,
Walrus
it will be
Gumboot 99. Fantastic handle. I don't know what the original
love
name
it.
was, but fantastic. VVD in the 82nd minute, Kanati in the 85th. But it looks like. There you go. Let me see. Yeah, City tonight was mad. Dermot says 3-0 Verts, Isaac and Gakpo. Carl says City were 5-1 up and nearly threw it away. Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
They did.
clearance off the line at the very end. Yeah,
Yeah. So we're going for a win. We're not going for a row.
no,
Davey says I'm changing my score 6-0 instead of 5. He just wants Sunderland absolutely malavogued around Anfield tomorrow night, to be fair.
there's
But
no bias in that whatsoever.
do
Like,
you know what? Do you know what? Obviously, I'd love to see this, but I'd love Liverpool to come out and get a goal early. Get a goal early and let's try
control it.
build on things. No, just build on it. And do
Yeah.
you know what? Build Anfield up. Let Anfield go a bit fucking mental on a Wednesday night and just fucking, But
You go back to
having
what you
said
said
that,
about
part of me is like, just fucking win.
But you go back to what you said about Allison when Allison was talking about the crowd. At the end of the day, the players know that they have to give the crowd something to cheer for. And when they do, the place will go up. It will. You put in a performance, and it doesn't have to be a walloping or a hiding. You just put in the effort, the pressing, harassing, aggression. Just do that.
Yeah,
Just do that, and the crowd will get up, and
yeah,
the crowd will drag you through it.
yeah.
And it needs it. I think Anfield needs it more than what the players do at the minute because
O'Shane is
it's just
asking.
been tough.
O'Shane says, Davey T, what would you do if Sunderland finished above you? And Davey T said, I'll just leave the country. Isaac only had 3 more goals this time last year, and he finished with 27. There you go. There's another staff here.
He went on a massive
And O'Shane says
run.
the Ev beating Bournemouth, good result for them. Yeah, brilliant result for Everton. Because they had their arse handed to them by Newcastle at the weekend, and to go down to Bournemouth. Bournemouth aren't in the best of form, but they're a good side and they're good down there. But Everton, from the stats I seen, Everton had the better of it. More shots on goal. They
It's
looked.
4-5 now for Bournemouth.
Yeah,
4 losses in the past 5
it's
for
not great at the moment for Bournemouth, but it's a really good bounce back win for Everton. And you know what? They're I think they're doing really well with Ndoi, Grealish, Dewsbury Hall, and to be fair, they're doing it all in spite of the strikers because both the strikers can't hit a fucking barn door.
No, they're all atrocious.
Yeah, so I think if I'm Everton, I'm looking and going, can we just get a forward that scores a few goals, lads, and we might be all right.
Anyone will do. Anyone will do.
So that's where we are. We're going to go. That has been your preview to Liverpool versus Sunderland. We're going to go off now and edit this so you can everyone can get it on their podcast apps, listen to it tomorrow on their way to work before the game. Listen, like, subscribe, comment, all the usual stuff. Patreon, if you want to join our Patreon, the link is in the description there. But if you join Patreon, try it for a month. If you like it, brilliant. If you don't, no hard feelings. Don't worry about it. There's loads of people joining. They seem to be enjoying it, and there's a great variety of shows on there. We done a reaction extra to West Ham last night. We're going to be on there tomorrow. I'm going to be on tomorrow night doing reaction extra to the Sunderland game. We're going to have a ref watch show, I think, on Thursday. And there's loads going on there. So for what we give you on YouTube, you're probably looking at the same amount of shows again per week on Patreon. And like I said, sign up for a month and see how it goes. Anybody that's signed up on the 22nd of December to Patreon goes into a live draw to get 6 months free of Patreon from us as well. There's also in there, you can actually go onto our Patreon page, hit the gift tab, and you can gift a month or 2 months or 6 months or 12 months or whatever you want to a Liverpool fan you might know. So there you go. But yeah, it's in the description. You can check it out. If you go onto our Patreon page, you can see the newsletter that we're bringing out every week. Tells you what shows are on, tells you about the competition, links you to all the shows, etc., etc. So that's how it goes. Kev, anything else before we go?
Nah, roll on tomorrow night now.
Yeah, I'm looking forward.
I just can't wait. I just really can't wait to see what this. I'm looking forward to just seeing what the lineup is, because I don't know what way he's going to go, and it's been a while since I've been looking forward to that.
Yeah,
I just can't wait. I want to see Florian Wirtz again. I just want to see him at Anfield this time. Hopefully, have a bit more freedom, and it was engineered freedom against West Ham.
Yeah,
where he can really go to town on
join our teams, yeah. Ashley says, don't forget you can join our Telegram group as well. Yeah, when you join Patreon, you just join Patreon, email us, we sort it out, we send you links, and you get into the Telegram groups, the members Telegram groups, and there's all sorts of madness goes on there as well if you fancy that as a messaging group and stuff like that. So that is there as well. There's just fucking loads. Try it. Just try it for a month. Seriously, just try it for a month and then you'll see how you're fixed. Right, we're going to go. We won't be seeing you until after the match tomorrow night. I can't even remember who's doing the match reaction. I think it's Kev, Chris, and Ashley.
Myself, Chris, Ashley,
yeah,
possibly Dylan.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but it's definitely you three. And
three, anyway.
We will see you tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Talk to you in a bit. Over here.